Yeah, it doesn't take much for a little rotation to show up on radar, and we are seeing it. You see the green surrounded by the red there, so there's the notch we're looking at. But this is the area of main concern. It's probably moved in more in western Peoria County out of Knox, but stay in your safe place anyway, especially Brimfield, Jubilee areas, along with Edwards, Kickapoo, Dunlap, Monica, Princeville. You're on the fringe of this, but we see some bright colors there, so that's an indication of wind, a strong wind field out there. And then Elmwood and south of Route 116. And getting farther toward Peoria, Norwood, you're not in it, but obviously, you're close enough, so if you want to take shelter and go to your safe place, do that. Bellevue, the same. And, Norwood is one of those big fall tornadoes we've had in history. September 14th, 1965, the Norwood Southside Peoria tornado. So we can get tornadoes and severe weather in the fall. We saw that with Washington, and then the other big one was that Norwood Peoria Southside tornado. But this tornado watch, tornado warning, I should say, in effect for another few minutes until 3:15. Whether or not it'll be extended, I'm not sure. But judging by the radar, at least severe thunderstorm warnings will be extended eastward because of the nose of this. And this is where the strongest wind field is going, around Brimfield, Elmwood. It's pretty much past you, but you're still in the warned area there. And as this pushes off further into Peoria County, I imagine some of these warnings will be allowed to be shaved off, because this, around McQuan, back towards Knoxville and Galesburg, that's just a rain event going on right now. That's post-rain with the front itself. But here's the leading edge of it. We've been advertising this pretty much all day long, and it's a situation where we didn't catch us by surprise. The timing has sped up a little bit. We thought maybe around 4 o'clock, city of Peoria, but it doesn't look like it. It'll be in there a little bit earlier, but that's what we're seeing right now. So tornado warning in effect, western Peoria County, extreme eastern Fulton County, northwest Fulton County. I think that, northwest Fulton, just a smidgen of it is still in there. That's in effect for another 5 minutes until 3:15, Jesse.
Yeah, they did take most of that out, Chuck, as you mentioned there. So Fulton County, you're probably in the clear at this point, at least for now. Now, keep in mind, this line extends southward, so this line does extend still yet into part of Fulton County. So as we mentioned, even though you may not be in the specific tornado warning, many areas still under a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, many areas, regardless, looking at some very strong wind gusts with this as well. Again, we did have the rotation. It's been a little bit more on the weaker side right now. That's not a reason to take it lightly by any means. That rotation can fluctuate in its strength, strengthen, weaken, and then just repeat the process over and over again. Again, as Chuck mentioned, we did just have the National Weather Service shave off a little bit of this on the west side, but West Peoria County, you are still in this tornado warning, and so that does include Elmwood, Brimfield, Kickapoo. You're in this almost all the way up into Princeville, almost. You're right at the fringe area of this. Again, this is just west of the Peoria metro area, and a little sliver right there of eastern, south and eastern Knox County as well, especially south of I-74. Did get a report just now, a couple of reports actually just coming into the National Weather Service. 65-mile-an-hour gust in Elmwood, that came in. Also, Elmwood, 50-mile-per-hour gusts, so we've had that, and then up to 65 miles an hour just now. Also, half-inch hail right there as well. So these are certainly some nasty. This is a nasty line of storms, Chuck, that we're tracking here. That in a way is bringing all types of severe activity, all the varieties out there, including that potential for rotation and tornadoes, as we've seen that potential on radar.
And those winds, we knew it'd be a windy scenario all day long today because we had those strong southerly winds gusting near 45 or so. And this is the tornado warned area for another 3 minutes, western Peoria County and a sliver of eastern Knox County. This is continuing coverage of severe weather. It's our policy to stay on the air as long as it takes through the last tornado warning, interrupting programming. We apologize for that, but we track storms and we save lives, so we appreciate you being considerate of that. And also, we repeat a lot of information and we show a lot of visual information over and over. That's because we also have a responsibility to our hearing impaired audience and our visually impaired audience who may be listening to the audio portion. So that's why we repeat a lot. A lot of people say, boy, you guys repeat a lot and you show a lot of stuff. That's what we do because we also have to be courteous to other members of our viewing audience who maybe can't see and hear everything like you can. So we appreciate your patience as well because we want to make sure everybody is covered here. So to recap things, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect 3:30, most of Peoria County and a little sliver back into Knox County. And then we have a tornado warning in effect 3:15, and that's for Peoria County, western Peoria County. Doesn't include the city, although the sirens are probably going off, so you want to take cover, you can. It'll be interesting to see if this this tornado warning will be extended out to the east. I know the severe thunderstorm warning will, because we still have severe thunderstorm warning going in effect and a history of 65-mile-an-hour winds. And here is what we're watching. This is the velocity. This tells us we're not seeing a lot of rotation here, but the bright reds, that indicates big-time winds right there, and that's what we're seeing between Brimfield and Kickapoo in rural Peoria County, and this is part of the tornado-warned area, and a little notch here and there, but for the most part, this is a wind event. Keep in mind the colors on here. The red is going away from the radar, the green toward the radar, and this is what we're seeing. So the radar is picking up this nasty line, so the reds indicate intense winds with that. Why don't we zoom things out a little bit? Go back to radar, Jesse, and we'll zoom things out. And I want to put the squall line on this just to give some arrival times in various cities. And we're looking at the entire line here coming off to the east and moving at about east at about 50 miles an hour. So we'll lay it down for the communities as we're seeing it. And we're talking Havana 3:15, Spring Lake 3:26, City of Peoria about 3:30 or so. So that's just a few minutes from now. Pekin the same, Washington 3:43, crossing the river, and then Metamora 3:45, Eureka 3:51, and then the Lincoln and Streeter area. So take a look at the time. We're talking arrival times in Lincoln all the way down here and Streeter all the way up here. This is a long line of thunderstorms, and what a squall line it is. And we advertised that, and we thought we might see a couple of spin-ups, especially west and northwest of the Illinois River, which is what we've seen. Most of us have to deal with the strong winds and the 65-mile-an-hour wind possibility, as we've seen around the Elmwood area, and we'll be looking for any damage reports. If you have them, send them to us or to the Weather Service, and the Weather Service will get them out. But we'll be interested in seeing what happens. But this is the area right now we're watching the most, because this is moving off to the east and northeast at about 50 miles an hour. So it's be in the city of Peoria at about 15 minutes, and it looks like our tornado warning is over. But the severe thunderstorm warning continues. It's just coming to the city of Peoria, but I think that might be expanded eastward a little bit over the next few minutes. Jesse?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Chuck. Looks like the Weather Service has decided to go ahead and allow that warning to expire. So the tornado warning itself, not in effect right now, but this is still a serious situation, Chuck. We might not be out of the woods because we've already seen that this line has had characteristics tornadic in nature, little pockets of rotation along this line, and as it continues to move through, that could continue. We're in an environment, especially a strong wind field, if you will, a lot of what we call wind shear. And so even though this is a line of storms that extends way through the area, pretty much through the entire viewing area, at some point you're certainly going to get windy conditions in your neck of the woods. Just be aware you need to be staying tuned on air and online, because we could continue to look at possibly talking more tornadic stuff with this, Chuck.
And Jesse, we usually reserve tornado warnings for full coverage and keep going, but I think we're going to stay here for a couple of minutes because I want to see what this line does as it enters Peoria. So we'll continue our continuous coverage right now on TV. And then if we see that we're just getting severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warning threat has waned, we'll let you go back to regular programming, but we will stay on live with Facebook for the duration here. So this is what we're dealing with. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:30. Western Peoria County, just west of the city of Peoria, into the central and western portions of Mason County, and then eastern Fulton all the way down to the Cass County line there. And we're looking at western Peoria County as one of the big problem areas with the nose of this thunderstorm squall line. With the nose coming out, that means winds are just gushing out, okay? It's just like a water balloon. As you poke it, the water gushes out. This is the way a wind situation does, as the winds will start gushing out. So it's just to the west of Peoria. And the models have been indicating all day and all night, by the time this thing gets to the Illinois River, it may decrease in intensity and start waning. So by the time it gets to the Twin Cities, you still have a ways to go, Bloomington Normal, because you're not even close to what's going on yet. So at least you're an hour away. And this may be decreasing in intensity. So we'll stay on for another 3:30 until this warning, and we'll see what that warning area does. But, city of Peoria and areas around Peoria County, Chillicothe, Wrenchville, Rome, Peoria Heights, Peoria, Pekin, down toward Havana and Cuba. If you feel like going to your safe place, by all means do that. We don't have any tornadic threat going on right now, but we have a high wind threat of 65 miles an hour or so, and it's just now to the west of Peoria. Let's zoom in just a little bit, Jesse. I want to zoom into the Peoria Metro and give people an idea where these storms are in relation to Peoria itself, because they're still a ways away, but they're around Hannah City or so, Kickapoo, and heading toward the Route 91 corridor. So the shops of Grand Prairie, if not right now, in a couple of minutes. And then downtown, it'll be another few more minutes as well, as that severe thunderstorm warning takes us to 3:30. And then we'll see what happens after that. But there's a good possibility some of these could be below severe limits by the time they get to the Illinois River. But we'll have to wait and see what the Weather Service does. They usually would expand this out by now, so I'm thinking there might be a little bit of a decrease in intensity in some of these storms. But we do see these bulges, and that indicates a strong wind field coming out of these thunderstorms from basically west to east. Jesse?
That's right, Chuck. And yes, you're right. I mean, we've had a scenario where our storm, our line of storms, has almost surpassed our warning polygon in a couple of spots. Look at this specifically. The area that I'm talking about right here is up to the northern side of Peoria County. So we're talking Kickapoo, Dunlap, up towards Princeville. Right there, I'm sure the National Weather Service evaluating this right now and deciding what they want to do about this, whether it'll still stay at that severe status or not. That's the question. I suspect if they are going to put out another warning about on this specific line, it would probably be any minute here. Otherwise, they may decide to let this one go. But keep in mind, this is not the only area that we're focusing on. I know so far what we've talked to you about mainly has been areas just directly west of Peoria, because we did have that tornado warning there for a while. That, again, has now expired. We are not seeing the rotation that we had been seeing right there. But either way you slice it, that doesn't mean it won't come back, and that doesn't mean that we're not dealing with very strong 60, 65. We could even see some spots near 70-mile-an-hour winds out ahead of this, and that line extends all the way through the viewing area, Chuck.
Let's recap what's going on. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:30, and that includes western Peoria County and all of Stark County. We can't forget Stark because that's been kind of blocked off by some of our graphics, and then on down into western Tazewell, into, let's say, central and western Mason, then the eastern portions of Fulton County, and we're talking, now the sliver out of Knox County has ended, so we're mainly concentrating on this area west of Peoria, from Stark through western Peoria County, western Tazewell, and into southeast portions and eastern portions of Fulton County as well. So this is moving off to the east at about 50 miles an hour. We'll see if this severe thunderstorm warning gets extended, and if it does so, that would include the city of Peoria. And that's a possibility, but there might be a little bit of a weakening trend here, although we could have some gusty winds in this. And we'll wait another 9 minutes till this expires and keep our continuous coverage going on the TV side. And then if we don't get any more tornado warnings or anything like that, we will drop our TV coverage in a few minutes and stay on Facebook Live and take your questions and comments to see what's happening out there. But we advertise this, and these fall tornadoes and fall severe weather situations are hybrids. They're not, it's severe weather, but it's almost a different dynamics than you would see in the spring or the summer. And we can get late season severe weather, and we've seen that here in central Illinois, September, October, and November. We've put down about 60 tornadoes over the past 60 years, so it's not frequent, but it's common enough, and we've had some pretty big events happen during the fall as far as severe weather is concerned as well. And we can't rule out, we've had them in December, January, and February, so you can have tornadoes all year round. Here's a look at the velocity. And once again, it's calmed down quite a bit. We are seeing these little red notches right here. That indicates strong winds. We're talking I-80 down, this is parts of Henry County, then through Stark County. Now, Stark County, south of Bradford, Route 40 corridor, Route 17 corridor, headed into western Marshall County, and then back toward Stark County, Toulon areas, West Jersey, then back toward western Marshall. That's a pretty impressive wind field right there, so you'll have to watch out. So make sure you have your eye to the sky. It's not tornadic. Doesn't appear to be rotating, but it's a straight line wind situation headed into western Marshall County out of Stark County. So watch out for that. And we have a nasty notch, Route 91 corridor. That'd be the shops of Grand Prairie on up to Princeville in the open fields there, but that's headed toward Alta Road and eventually the north side of Peoria possibility. So that's a nasty looking wind field there as well. We don't see any rotation or couplets there, but that's a nasty wind situation. And then you get some stronger winds as you come down toward the 91 corridor to I-74, and then things kind of ease up. You have these spotty little gusts here and there, but the radar is picking up just the wind fields right now, Jesse. No notches or rotations, but still something to watch out for, especially city of Peoria. It's coming your way. I'm looking at our sky watch, and it'll start getting dark out there pretty soon. In fact, I'm going to change that.
Yeah, so actually, as we talk about the current warnings, if you're just now joining us, tornado warning is over for West Peoria County. That was also in effect for areas into parts of Knox and Fulton County as well. Again, that has been expired now. And as we talk about the severe thunderstorm warning, massive line here that we're talking about that runs almost all the way through the viewing area. National Weather Service, no doubt, evaluating that right now and seeing what to do about it, because there have been some areas that look like they have weakened a little bit, but it's certainly important for us to mention Peoria. It's about to get a little windy, to say the least, and we're continuing to monitor this as the strength can kind of come and go, if you will, of these lines and the wind speeds therein. Quick note, the severe thunderstorm warning that encompasses most of the Illinois River Valley and areas to the west, it goes until 3:30 or until the National Weather Service decides to either extend that or to just let it go. The National Weather Service Davenport office, the Quad Cities, that's a different district. They did just extend the warning up into that area, now into Putnam County. So if you're in Putnam County, you're now under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. The rest of us under the Lincoln office of the National Weather Service, currently in that severe thunderstorm warning that extends up the Illinois River Valley till 3:30.
All right, Jesse, let's go out live. I'll give the control room a couple of seconds here to prepare. Well, there you go. You don't need much preparation time. Thanks, control room. And this is our storm tracker. That is Larry Falk out in the storm tracker, and he is in the Grand Prairie, shops of Grand Prairie area. And yeah, those are some low-hanging, scary clouds out there. Doesn't look like any rotation to them, Jesse, but that can be scary, and that's what we're looking at west of Peoria, courtesy of our weather tracker. And we can take you live right to where the weather is happening. And you can see the wind's blowing around a little bit, but it can be a little bit dicey, but it looks like some of these may be weakening. The line may be weakening a little bit as it approaches the Illinois River. So there's the shot from our weather tracker, another tool in our severe weather arsenal. Jesse?
Yeah, so Chuck, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about. Yeah. National Weather Service Lincoln office has now extended this warning up the Illinois River Valley. That includes a good chunk of real estate for us. Here in central Illinois, Chuck, we've got quite a few counties in this. This includes parts of Marshall, Peoria, Woodford, Tazewell, also Mason County are in this. If you hear that noise in the background, that's one of our weather radios in the newsroom going on right now. That just goes to show you, we've got those coming across as we speak, and we've got those pretty much everyone Peoria metro area. Now you are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 4:15 now, the timeline on this one, Chuck.
All right, and we'll stay on the air throughout the warning for Peoria County and the city of Peoria for the severe thunderstorm warning, simply because we could have a rotation situation pop up at any time, but mainly these are straight line winds, possibility of 70-mile-an-hour winds. So we'll wait till this blows through a little bit. But we'll go ahead and stay on the air with a continuous coverage since we're already here. And we apologize. We have to interrupt your programming, your afternoon shows as well. But we need to do that to make sure you're safe. And although you may not need to be in your safe place, make sure you can get there quickly because of these strong winds. And here's the timeline for the squall line going through the area, through Metro Peoria right now, and Pekin as well, just the next couple of minutes. Washington 342. Metamora 345, Eureka 352, Hopedale at 357, Monarch 405, Lincoln if it holds together, and Streeter and Bloomington if it holds together. That's still about 425 for the Twin Cities. And as we've said, these might start weakening when they move east of the Illinois River. They'll start waning, but they're going full steam ahead here in the city of Peoria. And that's what we'll be seeing over the next few minutes. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:15. A large chunk of Peoria County also extends up into, Putnam County is under a warning. We have a warning there all the way through Peoria and down toward Tazewell County as well. So this is causing covering a lot of real estate. And that's the squall line. So that's the latest on the track of this storm. And once again, we're more concerned about some dangerous straight line winds than anything. And not like we haven't had it windy all day today. It has been, but now we've ramped things up a little bit as we see those severe cells in that linear fashion, and very, very few isolated cells. It's all one big line of thunderstorms all the way from, let's say, Interstate 88 to Sterling Rock Falls area, all the way down through Metro Peoria to Beardstown, back south toward Quincy there. And this is a large area of real estate. So we're talking Marshall County, Western Marshall, Western Woodford, pretty much eastern Peoria County, central Tazewell County, and then we go down into Mason County a little bit, and still a little smidgen corner of on the eastern side of Fulton County there, and some in Mason there, and back toward Tazewell, Peoria, Marshall, Stark, and up into Putnam County as well. So we can't forget our northern friends as well, because this thing is a long line of severe cells, individual cells, tiny ones, but it's in a squall line situation, which we advertised, and boy, these things can move fast, Jesse, and they are this afternoon.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Chuck. And to put it in perspective, this warning alone, now keep in mind, Putnam County, you're under a warning. The storm's about to arrive right there. This new warning that the Lincoln National Weather Service office has just put in place, this thing covers 8 different counties, parts of 8 different counties. That puts it into perspective of how long this line is, and there's a lot of wind associated with it. And again, those winds of 60-plus miles an hour, even though we are seeing it maybe start to let up a little bit, they're still above that severe threshold. We're having those winds at 60 miles an hour. That's our cutoff point, and we've still got them all along through there. And they've kind of just overlaid this warning over the previous one. The previous one was pretty much west of the Illinois River Valley. Now this warning has been added on because the previous one was coming to an end. So this one goes until 4:15 for that time right there. And so if you're in the Peoria area right now, Peoria metro area, you're under that severe thunderstorm warning until 4:15. And that wind, it's about to come your direction. Chuck.
Exactly. It's right on top of the city. And let's go live out on our weather tracker. Pablo Iglesias is with Larry Folk out there. And Pablo, they've been around the shops of Grand Prairie area. And Pablo, where are you and what's going on out there?
Yep, Chuck, just as you said, we are near the shops at Grand Prairie, and winds are really starting to pick up. And the other thing, too, is that we're starting to see a bigger presence of dark clouds. I'm seeing some lightning, and again, just a very windy situation. Cars are still coming through, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We're seeing leaves rustle through. The clouds are slowly starting to move. Actually, right behind me, too, is, as you can kind of just see around, dark gray clouds. That's the best way I could describe it, with a pretty heavy wind presence if we want to start driving around and taking a look at this area. Chuck, the clouds are starting to move a lot quicker. Very windy right now at the moment.
All right, Pablo Iglesias live in the weather tracker, and we see some scud clouds out there. They can be mistaken for funnel clouds because scud clouds can take all different sorts of variations, but boy, it's too bad they're cutting in and out because that was a great shelf cloud shot right there. The leading edge of this thing as you're looking west toward east from basically the shops of Grand Prairie toward downtown Peoria. And that was a great shot there. If we can get that back, that'd be great because we got a shelf cloud associated with the leading edge of this, and that can look nastier. And we could even get a roll cloud out of it as well. Yeah, let's go back to the weather tracker. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, that's why people get scared in situations like this, because we are seeing quite a bit of ugliness in those clouds. Notice how they are looking toward the west, and seeing the sunshine in the background there. And then here comes the heavy downpours, and there's the shelf cloud. And we see a few scud clouds roaming around. And, any rotation could pop up at any time during these. And also, you see some of the clouds up in the upper left hand of your screen. They look like they're little bubbles. There might be some what we call mammatus clouds associated with that. That means a downdraft of air. And these look like little water balloons. And that's indicative of a strong thunderstorm or severe thunderstorm, with the winds being transferred from the jet stream level down to the surface, and it puffs up those clouds or puffs them out, and they look like little balloons hanging in the air. But that's the shops of Grand Prairie, courtesy of our storm tracker. And there you see the nasty line of storms moving into River City right now, Jesse. And the radar backs that up here for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And I wanted to show you this camera right here, Chuck. This is very close to where they are. This is the Great Escape right there. Boy, the old term "scary-looking cloud" sure sums it up right there. We've had a little bit of a shelf cloud that just shows us exactly where that squall line is right now. That is moving in as we speak on the Peoria area. There you can see the lightning with it, Chuck. This is very impressive.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And we even see some scud clouds, and you see those little appendages coming down, and that's a possibility of we could see a little rotation there. Now the camera is caught up because it goes back about 2 or 3 minutes, and now it's to the current state of affairs. Now it's pouring in those areas where you saw the sunshine and that leading edge of thunderstorms coming your way. So once again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for several counties. Look at this big box of this polygon box the Weather Service in Lincoln has put out. And it extends all the way from Marshall County, Stark County, and then we go down to Peoria County, and then off into Woodford County, and then parts of Tazewell County, and then back toward Mason County as well. Control room, what did you just say? I'm sorry, would you? Okay, check the live shot again. Okay, let's go back to the shops. Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Yeah,
that's the shops of Grand Prairie right there, and that looks like maybe the Great Escape right
Yes.
there, and that's definitely what we're looking at, and that's being really pounded around.
Look at that flag.
And
that puts it in perspective.
Yeah, and Pablo is standing by, and you guys are right in the middle of it, Pablo.
Yep, Chuck. We, as you just saw just a few moments ago, we only saw clouds, and as we just sent it back to you guys, the rain started to come down, and I think the flag says it all right now, is that the winds are starting to really pick up, and that rain is pouring at the moment. That's just the situation we're looking at right now, again, with heavy winds, with heavy rain. It's even shaking the car up a little bit, but don't worry, we're all good out here. But that's kind of what's going on out here, but we will send this right back to you guys as we just take a look at this picture.
Yeah, that flagpole tells a story. That's bending, not quite at 45, but it's getting there, and that's what we're seeing. So you may want to go to your safe place just to make sure you're not in the elements for sure. Go to your safe place, at least go inside. When thunder roars, go indoors. We want to make sure you're inside during this severe weather situation as this line of storms pushing through Metro Peoria right now. That's the Great Escape out on the northwest side of town, shops at Grand Prairie. And so city of Peoria, downtown, get ready. If it's not your way, it's coming your way real quick. I want to keep that here for just a couple of more seconds and see what that does. But you can see the Old Gloria is being battered around there. And that's our live weather tracker, and courtesy of Pablo Iglesias and Larry Falk, who's the wheelman there and the photographer there. So we appreciate that. Jesse, what's the latest on warnings and radar? Anything new going on?
We're still at the same situation, but now if you're in Peoria, you're no doubt getting hammered by this rain and this wind. I mean, I still can't get over. This puts it in perspective, Chuck, that flag and the flagpole itself blowing like that. I mean, these are certainly at least 60-mile-per-hour winds, which is our cutoff point. And at times we've had reports of winds even higher than that. Even though, we're not dealing with anything tornadic, at least at the moment, this still puts it in perspective of what those kinds of winds can do, and over a large area as well, Chuck. This is a long area that this encompasses, and really extending up the Illinois River Valley right now as we speak. I do want to make mention really quick, we did get a report in, a storm report that is saying Elmwood, the emergency manager for Peoria County Emergency Management, they're reporting in Elmwood that an apartment building roof has been blown off. Okay, so that's in Elmwood. That would be a little ways ago, 3:02 is the timeline on that. That's what we have right there. Again, Elmwood, a roof blown off of an apartment building right there. That puts it in perspective of some of what we've been seeing, Chuck. And those winds are still holding together pretty good and moving into the Peoria area.
Yeah, and let's hold it right there, control room, on that shot. And Jesse, if you can get our downtown camera up, the one that's in the big screen. I want to show it downtown Peoria. So that would be the East Peoria side looking across. I want to see that shot because this is what is coming toward downtown Peoria and be pretty impressive. So I think the control room has it, Jesse, so we'll take